but we've got work to do. The Open Championship at Royal Troon tomorrow. Weather will be bad. That's the best way to watch and make those guys play in the Open Championship. Rob Bolton, PGATour.com, joins us on 365 Sports. We'll pick our teams in a moment. We've already got the numbers locked in for everybody. And, Rob, thank you very much for your time. Is it going to be one of those weekends where it's wet, windy most of the time?
Hey, guys, we're talking about the Barracuda Championship, right? That's what we got planned today?
Yes, absolutely.
Where the weather is going to be absolutely beautiful. And the opposite, fittingly for an opposite event, than the Open Championship. Yeah, I love this weather forecast. It's like the old school, just look outside. Tell me what's going on, because that's all that matters at any one moment. Everybody's going to get affected by it. We don't know how it's going to play out until it plays out. And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we get to experience that every once in a while, and this tournament delivers that. We don't know, and we get to see what happens. I mean, we would love that more. I think we would really love that more of the time. But in this world where we have everything at our disposal fingertips, we can predict, we can plan. This is not that. That's one of the reasons I love it.
Well, everyone knows about the crazy bunkers that you have to play when you play in that type of environment. And I've heard a lot about these. What is the most dangerous part of this course?
The answer is it depends on which way the wind is blowing. However, I think unless it's just perfect for all the golfers, which it isn't. I'm just trying to leave out that 1% or fraction of 1%. The second 9, so holes 10 through 18 on the way in, typically are more difficult. It's a par 36, 35, but the second 9 typically plays a couple of shots over par. The front 9 plays about par. So relative to par, it's the second 9. But that's with the wind coming off the Firth of Clyde, which is the sea to the west, and when the prevailing wind, which is usually from the west, that's when it becomes really difficult. But the prevailing wind, well, I should say, the wind this week, as we are speaking at this moment, is expected to blow a little bit more from the south, which will help some of those carries on the back 9. Doesn't mean it's going to be easier. It could be easier, but that's the real tough spot of this course. Royal Troon's back 9. But the wind, though, it may be completely different. We may be talking about the front 9 being more difficult because of that specific thing, and it's like we don't know until we know. It's part of the fun, as I mentioned earlier. But the back 9 in a vacuum.
Have you ever played or been to a course like that?
Oh man, no. I can only imagine what it must be like for everybody who has, and then to try to do what I do. It would probably add another entire layer, and I might just quit the job. I think the less I know, the better in terms of application. I'm not a golfer by trade anyway. I've lived out here in Arizona for 11 years. I played once, and the course I played no longer exists. So it gives you an idea of how in tune with the action of the golf is. I have played. I will just say this: the course that no longer exists is the former ASU course with a Pete Dye design. And I wanted to quit by the 14th hole. And the back 9 of that course had some elements. Pete Dye, I mean, it gets in your mind anyway. But it had the elements where you just got to stay out of the bunkers. And whatever. I'm not a good player, but I couldn't stay out of the bunkers. And I can't imagine the level of patience required, even for professional athletes, to deal with that. On a course like this, you just got to stay out of it, period.
All right, so a couple of things. One is each of us, Emery, Paul, Rob, and I, will get to pick 4 players. Whoever picks first will not pick again until it's the 8th pick, and then you double up at the end of each round. If you get anybody on your team that misses the cut, your team is disqualified. No matter if 3 other guys are in the 1, 2, and 3 at the end, if you have somebody miss the cut, and in the conditions that we might see this weekend, it is like, honestly, you're like rolling craps. You don't know what's going to happen. All right, so, Rob, we did like the crumbled up pieces of paper. Craig laid them out. Paul is 1. Emery is 2. You are 3. and then I get number 4. So we start with Paul.
I will take Scottie Scheffler.
Took a long time to turn the card in, and you,
I'm going to go with Xander.
Xander Schauffele. Rob?
Yeah, your intro there about the rules, the format, when Paul had gotten in touch to ask if I was available, I thought about that, and I thought, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be. This is rough.
I know.
I'm going to open with Rory McIlroy since he's sitting there.
I'm going to take Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. Rob, back to you.
That makes it easy then for Colin Morikawa.
Yeah. Emery.
I am going to go with I'll go with I always mess up his name. Ludwig
Oberg.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oberg.
From Texas Tech, by the way. Get your guns up. Paul Catalina, 2 picks.
I will take John Rahm and Tommy Fleetwood.
I like him, and especially with our rules. He is a grinder. All right, back to you, Emery.
I'm going to go with Aaron Rye.
Rob?
I know he's saving Austin Eckroth there for the last round, so I'll leave him available to you. This just makes all the sense. I mean, given the format, former Open champion Shane Lowry.
Damn it. That was going to be my last pick, my 4th pick. I'm going to take Tony Finau. And I'm taking McIntyre, who just won the Scottish Open just because of the course. He might be like Paul, who just did a keg stand, by the way, to start the show. I'm going to take – that's not a big name, but it's a hot name, and he seems to play well. And I hope he's not so over-modulated, but I'll take Finau and then McIntyre. Back to you, Rob.
This guy's not in my power rankings, but I wrote pretty highly of him in the Golf It Insider on Wednesday. I just continue to believe in the guy. I think he's turned the corner. Victor Hovland.
Okay. Emery.
I'm going to go Alex Noren.
All right.
Shocker.
Yeah, no Eckroat. Yeah. Is he in it? Is Eckroat? I mean,
I'm not even.
Yeah.
Okay.
think so.
All right. And Paul, your last one.
I'll take Sahith Theegala.
Yeah, that has become kind of my favorite guy.
Yeah.
I like watching Rye, Theegala, and Batia. They have 3, have kind of burst onto the scene in the last year or two, and they are all grinders. All right, Rob, you see the team. The weakness is where?
That's exactly the question, because we're all loaded. So who has, if you looked up and down, I mean, Paul with Rahm, he needs something good to happen in the majors. Couldn't play the U.S. Open because of the injury. He's been playing really well on Live the last couple starts. So I don't think there's any question mark there. I leaned into Colin Morikawa in my pick there because he was available. And then Theegala, who I love. It's at some point Theegala is going to be a regular, top 2 round pick in this draft. So he's just so good. I just love watching him play. Emery, love it. I mean, Ryan Noren were the last 2 guys in the field, essentially, with Richard Mansell on Sunday via the Scottish. Both guys are trending highly. They're not the sexiest players in the field, but you're looking to go back-to-back in the majors. I could see them doing that for you. And Oberg is just dynamite. I mean, you have a really fun team to watch, despite what I just said about those 2 guys not being sexy. I mean, I got the guys I wanted. Maybe I reached a little bit there for Hovland. I looked at Brian Harmon at the end. Theegala was sitting there. Tyrrell Hatton, our nemesis, even though he delivered the US Open. 11 straight cuts made, by the way, in the majors suddenly, guys, with Tyrrell Hatton. And then Smokey, I mean, Koepka's the one, right? I mean, we just don't know. You have the faith. I have the faith. But come on already. Like, stop throwing up, T43s.
Yeah.
You're better than that.
Yeah.
That's what you expect from the guy because he expects so much more from him. So I would imagine, again, a little bit like Rahm, something to prove in the last major. That's what we hope for. That's sort of the spin on positive analysis. But we're still waiting for him to get it done. At some point, though, like, how long is that leash, And I wasn't ready to go into the Koepka market, so obviously you are. You're the most intriguing in terms of least expectations, so you're probably the most dangerous.
Yeah, I got some bangers with Bryson and Koepka, but with Koepka, if he starts poorly, with all due respect, love the guy, love watching him play, but he's one of those that can he's gone, right? And so Finau, of course, who almost won it recently, McIntyre, I love watching. He can putt. My God, can he putt? And just won the Scottish Open, which was a huge deal. So, all right.
Our last round is really compelling. In the fact that it's we're picks 13 through 16.
Mm-hmm.
We went chalk at the top, but that's where it gets really interesting in this thing. And just head to head for those four guys alone would be a really compelling sort of contest.
All right. Is there a name? And again, McIntyre popped out. He almost won. What was it? Well, he did win the Canadian Open. Now he won the Scottish Open. So now he can try to win the Open Championship. Is there a name that's not a part of who we have that you feel like could, see, we don't even think about Jordan Spieth anymore. He's just dangerous. He's just dangerous. You can't trust him. And now it means he'll probably win it. Is there a name that we did not mention that is a hot name among you and your guys on the site that feel like he might be in competition?
Tom Kim.
That's Jennifer Smoke's favorite player.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. He's so much fun. He's comfortable. He's gone through this transition in scaling to where he is on the world stage and as a PGA Tour member, where he disappeared for a little while. I think he's finally got his footing. Hearing some things, it made sense that he scuffled a little bit, but now that he's only 22. My goodness.
Yeah.
It would be quite an upset if he won the thing. I have him as a top 10, and I said, look, if you get into a top 5, I'm not going to talk you out of it. It just requires a little bit of luck. But 3.5 to 1 for a top 10, that's really respectful. But he'd be the guy. He came close in the Open before. I mean, good week last week, couple of top 4 finishes in the last couple months. I mean, to answer your question about the hot player, he's it without a recent victory.
Yeah.
Easy answer there. Adam
Scott played well this past weekend, a veteran in his 40s now. He's playing. Watch out for him. And I got to ask you, who of these two will make the cut? Likely make the cut. Mickelson or Tiger?
So first of all, when you mention Adam Scott, I mean I don't have the actual data at my fingertips, but I would probably bet my job that the average age of the winners of this tournament of, let's say, the last 20 years is the highest average of any tournament. So the field, he's much closer to what's expected of success in this tournament because of all the variables that are attached to it. Guys of a certain age, and so many of them, they haven't won again on the PGA Tour since they won the Open. That's just kind of an oddity because they are of a certain age.
Right.
This is where they expect to win. Don't be surprised if Scott's sitting there at the end with other guys like Justin Rose. But I'm touting Tiger Woods to make the cut at plus 220. And it's because of one specific thing. He hasn't been able to play golf the way that we expect him to, of course. We know that. But he said something this week that he's been able to do a little bit more in the gym. And I'm really curious of how that manifests. On a course where, again, he's a man of a certain age. He knows how to navigate around the bunkers. He's still the guy when it comes to striking the golf ball. And he doesn't need to bomb it this week. And not that he's short, but he doesn't have to really put his body through the rigors. This is more of a mental situation for him. In addition to the regular of the physical. So that the mental plays up, and who's going to go up against him in that world. I actually looked because again, Mickelson's in that same category essentially, even though he's 50, almost he's 54 now. I almost looked at a parlay between those two making the cut, and I think that there was about 10-1.
Okay,
that would have been a nice little payback. But I like Woods in that head-to-head.
Okay, hey man, you stole Lowry from me, but I'll forgive you. Look for Rob Bolton on his Twitter feed. Is Rob Bolton Golf? Is that correct?
PGA, right?
PGA. Rob Bolton PGA.
Yeah, Rob Bolton Golf.
No, I was right.
Sorry.
Paul.
Sorry.
Paul's had a beer or two.
Yeah, I did a keg stand an hour ago. So
Yeah. So Rob Bolton Golf, and he'll put up the teams, and it's great watching some of the replays or some of the comments. Rob, have a great weekend, man. We appreciate you so much for coming on with us.
Likewise, guys. You're the best. Thanks
Rob,
again. Take care.
Yeah, he's